So your mom was a midwife, right?
Yes.
Well, since you lived in a small town, and you would travel to different towns with your mom, such as Del Cruz, to deliver babies, would you travel by car or by foot?
It depended on who picked us up. Sometimes we'd walk, some other times we would go by horse, and other times by donkey.
I have flown defectors out from under the Iron Curtain. One thing you should know about me is that I do not give a shit about famous people. But yes, I have flown defectors over 120 miles to a secure American airbase.
There's always a purpose for these kind of things, and we learn from these. The way we live right now would definitely be different, but that's not the reality. Everything happens for a reason.
About her wedding, they didn't have a lot of money, and so this is why she chose to be married in this little wedding chapel. And stories that she told, her best friend was her attendant, and she wore this nice blue suit. And I didn't want to get married in a nice blue suit. I thought that sounded so boring.
When I came out here to California, I did not know there were Mexican people. I didn't even know there was a taco. No taco, no burrito, nothing.
Of course I was scared, because they would rape the Filipino women. That's why during the time the Japanese came, I would put dirt on my face from the mud. That made the Japanese uninterested to rape me or the other women who did that.
Y el barco salió, se fueron todos, y a nosotros nos metieron a la cárcel. Al Monkey House, Otate, puertita abajo, y en la puerta chiquita. Por ahí te dan una charola con agua caliente y uno como tamalito, no es puro arroz. Eso era lo que le daban uno de comer. Y le digo igual a un viejo, no comas nada, mano, le vamos haciendo cuando veamos.
She went into the forbidden trunk, and she knew she shouldn't, and she knew she was going to get caught. The temptation was too much. Her mother was not home. Her father was not home. No one was going to be able to stop her. And I knew from past experience that trunk was full of valuable things. There were showgirl dresses with sequins and bugle beads, and there were stacks of different kinds of headdresses, and there were bracelets, and there were small boxes of loose diamonds. Mercy, mercy.
This guy picked me up, and he had just stolen the car. He's going 110 miles an hour. He goes across the road, goes into a liquor store. I grab my backpack. I'm trying to get out. He puts it in reverse. We go back across. Highway patrolman gets right behind us. We spin out in a filling station, and I just ran out. So he, I almost died in a car accident.
What was their relationship like? Well, they complemented each other, and what she didn't have, he had. My parents were complete in themselves. Every day, she and her siblings had to walk for miles to school, running into centipedes and tarantulas on their way there. And eventually, the land of milk and honey had begun to get hit with the huge dust bowls that nearly blew them away.
I expected to be anything I wanted to be, because for me, America was miracle land, magic, fairy tale. place that we didn't believe existed. And my friends were asking me, is it true? Does America exist? Over the phone. I said the amazing thing is that their asphalt is also gray, that they open the door by the handle just like we do, and they eat soup with a spoon.
No le gustaba que viera una corrida. Pensaba que era mala suerte. En realidad se iba a festejar.
Then President Reagan said, "Mr. Gorbachev, bring that wall down."
Went to a restaurant and at his table, he proposed to me. We took a walk on the beach. We were both dressed in Swedish clothing. I had a headscarf.
My dad used to send me to the post office to pick up the mail for him. You know, he was at the creamery, and he'd give me a nickel if I would go get the mail for him. And in that time, you'd get a bag of candy like you wouldn't believe for a nickel. And that's where I got this from, was that.
People go through school getting from A to B on a one-track mind, and that's the goal. Inevitably, you'll come to a dead end and you'll ask yourself, where else could I have gone?
It's good to have a goal, but keep your mind open. You may take different paths to get to one place and find that there are so many different aspects to every single profession.
This job is really rewarding and never boring.
When all the pattern pieces are laid out, it's impossible to see how they would come together to make an elegant piece of clothing. But once you're in front of a sewing machine, with the pins and the thread at your hands, you know that even in 5 or 6 separate pieces, it will be a piece of clothing that someone out there will wear.
Where do you see yourself going in the future? About 18 years ago, I had worked very, very hard to build up my business. I had worked an entire lifetime's worth of work by age 40. I decided that when I turned 40, I would cut back to working 4 days a week, and at age 50, I would cut that down to 3 days per week. Turning 60 is just around the corner, and my plan is to reduce my work schedule to 2 days a week, and by age 70, I hope to only work 1 day per week.
How's your life changed since you came to the YMCA? And how have you changed people's lives?
You do something, and it's not until later on that you find that you've actually made so much of a difference. And